Hello friends, welcome to Power BI World. In today's video, we will see how to create table and metrics in Power BI. Okay, so let's get started. So it is not necessary every time that we need to create visualizations by creating some graphs or pie charts or tree maps. So sometimes we need to have a visualization in a tabular format so that we can directly see the figures and make a right decision related to our business. Okay, so let's go to the Power BI desktop and see how we can create the table and a matrix in Power BI. Okay, so I am into Power BI desktop and let us create a table visualization first and then we will create a matrix visualization. Okay, so in the visualization pane you see an option which says table. So once I click on table, it gives me this option which is a black and white table type format which shows here, and here what I have to do is just drag the fields in the values that I want. So let's see, we will take category, let's take subcategory as well. So as you see, if I just click on the categories and the subcategories, the table is automatically giving me the subcategory against the each category. Okay, so let's say we will also add the segment here. So which subcategory falls in which segment, you will come to know that as well here. Okay, so you see this is a very simple table that is getting created here. So what we are getting is we are getting the category, subcategory, segment. So I also want to see what was the sales and profit against each of the segment categories that has been mentioned. So let's take the sales, we'll get the numbers as well. So this was the sales for category furniture, subcategory bookcase, and the segment as consumer. Okay, so this was the sale, and let's see the profit as well. If I just click into this profit, what will happen here is it will give me the profit as well. Okay, so this is how you can create a table visualization, a very simple process to create a table visualization. Okay, now if I want to go and format my tables, I can do that as well. I can go to the format option and I can do the style of that table. So let's select any of the style. Let's take the bold headers. What will happen, the style of the header would be categorized as bold. So let's bold headers and flashy row. What happens to this is it will give you this particular option in the table, and then you can go and change the colors. If I just want flashy rows, I can just click on the flashy rows. The headers will be normal but the rows would be flashy. So let's take the alternating rows. So these are the options that you can use to style your table. Okay, if you go to the grid option, you have the option as vertical grid, horizontal grid, what color grid you want, so you can have that. What would be the thickness of that particular grid that you are creating, what would be the outline. So from here you can go and style your table the way you want. Okay, if you want to change the font color, you can change the font color as well. Let's take an example. We'll take red. We will take the background color as white. Just to give you a basic example of this, how we can change the colors. Okay, so this is how you can change the colors the way we want. Okay, if you want to give the outline, you can give the outline as well. You have all the options here. If you want, you can make it as a frame as well. If I click on frame and click anywhere outside, you can see this is how it will style your table. Okay, so in the format option you get a lot many options to format your values, to format the total, to format the columns, grid, style of your table, so on and so forth. Okay, let's create a matrix visualization and see what is the difference between table and matrix visualization. Okay, so I will click on the matrix visualization. So again you can see it is again in the tabular format. However, here I get an option to play with my columns that I want. So what I mean here is I get an option in matrix where which column I have to put in rows and which columns I have to put in columns here. Okay, so this is how we can, this is the only difference when you create a matrix visualization and a table visualization. Okay, so if I just click on the table visualization, you see I just get one option which says as values, and in that value I have to put all the columns that I want. However, in matrix visualization I get an option which says which column I have to put in rows, which columns I can put in columns, and in the values I have to just put the values. Okay, so let's see, we will create the same visualization which is there on the table visualization. Let's say we will take the category. So I have put the categories under row, subcategories. So you see by default what it is doing is it is adding subcategories into columns, and let's say the profit of this categories and subcategories. So this is how your visualization will look like, but I want the subcategories to be in the rows and categories into the columns. So let's change this. Let's bring rows to columns, and let's take subcategories to rows. So what it has done here is it has created a matrix table which says what are the subcategories on the rows and what are the categories in the columns, and according to that categories and subcategories it has given us an overall profit for that particular categories and subcategories. So what it is doing here is it is using the aggregated functions to give the profit against category and subcategories. So what happened here is, if we will take the first subcategory as accessories, so this accessories is falling into the category of technology. So how much data we have, it is doing a sum of that particular subcategories which falls under technology, and it is giving us the profit in the matrix table. However, if you see in the table visualization, it is individually giving me the details of categories and subcategories. Okay, so let's see, let's take an example of accessories itself. So if I go to the subcategory and select accessories, so as of now accessories is showing as ones, which falls under technology, but the profit here it is showing as this much. But if you scroll down, you also have accessories one more time. Okay, so now if I click on it, it will give me the profit for that particular accessory. So in table visualization, what happened here is it gives me an individual entry of that particular category or subcategory. However, in matrix visualization, it aggregate the total amount and give us one value. Okay, so this is how a matrix table looks like. Now if I want this category to be in rows, I can do that as well. If I just take the row categories into rows, what will happen here is it gives me the option as categories, and you see a plus sign here. Let me increase the size. Okay, so the value size increase. Let me also increase the row headers. Okay, cool. So now if you can see, I have increased the row header. It is giving me a plus sign. If I just click on this plus sign, what will happen is under this category, what are the subcategories? You will get the subcategories and profit against each subcategories. Similarly, if I go to the office supplies, again, what are the subcategories which are falling under office supplies and the profit against it. And similarly, I have the technology and the subcategories against it and the profit against the subcategories. Okay, the way we format our table, we can format this matrix table as well. We have to go to the format option, and you have options wherein you can just go and format the table you want. So let's go to the row headers, and instead of the stepped layout, let's off the step layout. So what will happen here is, you see previously the subcategory was below the categories. Now it is placed exactly next to the categories. Okay, let me on it once again. Now you see the difference. Now it is again below the categories. So let's keep this step layout as off. Okay, so you have again the column headers. You can format the column the way you want. You can have a grid, which you want a horizontal grid or a vertical grid of the table. You can have that option as well. Okay, if I go down, okay, I have the text size, how I can increase the text size. You have the style of that matrix, whichever style you want, you can use the style for that particular matrix. Okay, as of now we will just use as none, or we can use as minimal. So if you see how it looks like. Okay, let's go to the values. Again, you have the branded rows option as well. If I don't want the branded rows, it will give you all the options in one. Okay, I have the subtotal option. I just want the total or subtotals. Where I want, I can keep that. So I don't want row subtotal. So what will happen is, it will remove the subtotal from rows. Okay, so this is how you can create the table and matrix visualization and format that visualization according to you. Okay, now just to add, I have just added the profit. Now what if I want to add sales? I can do that as well. I'll go to the fields option, and now I will just add sales in the values. So what will happen is, it's giving me the profit as well as sales. So let's take sales first, and let's take the profit. So if I just click on this plus sign, again, which of the subcategories, how much sale is done for that particular subcategories, and what was the profit. So you can have n number of fields added to your matrix table, which will aggregate all the fields and give you the total amount or total sales or profit of that particular field that you have added. Okay, so that's all about in this video. Hope you like this video. Please comment below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.